ඒ සීන් එකෙන් කට් වෙන්න. ඇන්ටිජර් මවුත්වොෂ් සමගින් එන ක්ලෝස් අප් ජෙල් එක ස්ටෝරි එක ස්ටාර්ට් කරන්න.
Hi.
Hi.
Tonight, double team. Visiting Chinese foreign minister says his government won't allow outsiders to interfere in Sri Lanka's domestic affairs, while Russian foreign minister promises military assistance to improve country's defense capabilities.
We have supplied and will continue to supply arms and equipment that the Sri Lankan army needs to fight off its enemy.
Spanner in the works. Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa criticises Tamil media outlets for expanding the gulf between the community and the government and stymieing the reconciliation process. Double whammy. United National Party MP Ranjan Ramanayaka gets party suspension and arrest in same day for judicial interference. No change. The European Union reaffirms its terrorist list with no change in the LTTE's status as a banned organisation. All that and much more coming up on First at 9, this Tuesday the 14th of January 2020.
It always feels good when you are appreciated. SLT non-stop broadband. Free loyalty data added as you stay connected.
From AdaDerana, this is AdaDerana First at 9. Live from Studio 24 in Colombo.
Good evening and welcome to First at 9. I'm Dhammika Kanayaka. Let's start with your local stories. Now, Foreign Minister of Russia, Sergey Lavrov, arrived in Sri Lanka this morning on an official visit and held wide-ranging discussions with his local counterpart, Minister of Foreign Relations, Dinesh Gunawardena. On the agenda at the discussions were assistance in the fields of trade, investment, tourism, technical cooperation, counter-terrorism and defence, with Russia's top diplomat assuring the Sri Lankan government of continued material support through the supply of arms and equipment to strengthen the Sri Lankan Armed Forces defence capacity. Foreign Minister Lavrov is also set to meet President Gotabaya Rajapaksa and Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa during his visit.
Foreign Minister Dinesh Gunawardena played host to his counterpart from Russia, Sergey Lavrov, this morning, following his arrival on an official visit to the island. Bilateral discussions were held at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Colombo, after which the duo held a joint media briefing attended by local and foreign media. Foreign Minister Gunawardena stated that the visit by Russia's top diplomat served to revitalize bilateral relations and agreements between the two nations, with the highly eventful discussions having renewed the country's commitment to consolidate and transform cooperation into a viable and mutually beneficial, result-oriented partnership.
Our discussions focused on continuing the political dialogue and advancing bilateral economic and technical cooperation within the Russia-Sri Lanka Intergovernmental Commission on Trade, Economic, Scientific and Technical Cooperation. The agreed areas of cooperation include agriculture, food economy, fisheries, water management, education, including technical vocational education, trade, investment, tourism, security and defense, including counter-terrorism, science and technology, renewable energy and oil exploration. We noted and welcomed the increasing Russian tourist arrivals in Sri Lanka. We also discussed the potential for greater Russian investment in the hospitality sector. We reviewed programs and activities under bilateral defense cooperation. Defense cooperation between our two countries is active and robust under the bilateral military cooperation agreement that was signed in September 2018 in Moscow. Sri Lanka and Russia will further expand counter-terrorism cooperation through strengthened linkages between relevant authorities in the respective countries. We discussed the increasing importance of the Indian Ocean region to global trade and commerce and stressed the importance of maintaining stability, security for the future development and prosperity of the region. Our two countries will continue our cooperation and dialogue to pursue interests in the United Nations, including in the Human Rights Council in Geneva.
Foreign Minister Lavrov in turn assured the Sri Lankan government of the Russian Federation's support in the areas of trade, investment and defence cooperation. An official invitation was also extended to President Gotabaya Rajapaksa to visit Russia in the near future.
Sri Lanka is a long-standing partner of Russia in the South Asia. Ever since our countries established diplomatic relationship in 1957, this relations was based on the principles of equality, trust, and taking into account each other's interests. For instance, we have agreed to pay extra efforts to boost the trade from the current $400 million to the $700 million. As the next meeting of the Intergovernmental Commission on Trade and Economic and Scientific and Technical Cooperation is being prepared, special attention will be paid to these items on the agenda. This meeting will take place in Russia in the second half of this year. We have also focused on tourism, and we are grateful for our Sri Lankan partners for the extensive attention that they pay to ensuring security of our citizens who spend their vacations here. Today we paid extra attention to revitalizing counterterrorism efforts. We expressed our support of Sri Lankan leadership as it tries to identify and hold accountable the masterminds of horrible attacks that took place April last year. My colleague briefed me extensively on the efforts that were put together by President Rajapaksa to bring the situation in the country back to normal in strict compliance with the Constitution and respect to the national accord, and we fully support those measures. I also invited His Excellency to visit Russia at any time of his convenience, and we hope to continue our cooperation. As far as security is concerned, we, with His Excellency Minister, expressed our satisfaction with how this cooperation is going on. We have supplied and will continue to supply arms and equipment that the Sri Lankan army needs to effectively fight off its enemies and to improve its defense capacity. As far as investments are concerned, we know that Sri Lanka is keen to receive our support in the area of hydrocarbon exploration and building the tourism infrastructure. But for this plans to take shape, we need to establish more direct contacts between the businesses of our countries. In order to do so, I today passed on the invitation to our counterparts to form and send a delegation of the businessmen to the SPIF, St. Petersburg International Economic Forum that takes place in June, and to Eastern Economic Forum that takes place in September in Vladivostok.
Now, President Gotabaya Rajapaksa met with Chinese Foreign Minister Wang at the Presidential Secretariat today. The visiting Foreign Minister assured the President of China's continued commitment to upholding Sri Lanka's interests and prosperity and pledged to not allowing any outsiders to interfere in Sri Lanka's internal affairs.
China's Foreign Minister Wang arrived in Sri Lanka and met with President Gotabaya Rajapaksa today. At the meeting, Foreign Minister Wang reiterated China's stance as a strategic partner to Sri Lanka, pledging to stand by the country's interests and assure its prosperity and growth. He added that China's policy towards the island has always been consistent and that it would continue to be a reliable friend to Sri Lanka. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa told the visiting foreign minister that he is striving to keep Sri Lanka independent and economically free, and with it being a small country and strategically placed, the country has had to face many political challenges, with the only way to overcome them being economic independence. In response, Foreign Minister Wang assured President Rajapaksa that China will not allow any outsiders to interfere in Sri Lanka's internal affairs and that the country stands for Sri Lanka's sovereignty, territorial integrity and independence. Referring to the President's visit to China next month, the Chinese Foreign Minister said that all arrangements would be made for him to meet with relevant parties who could help Sri Lanka in the areas of technology, tourism, infrastructure and other related fields of development.
UNP parliamentarian Ranjan Ramanayaka was arrested this evening by officers of the Colombo Crime Division at his official residence in Madhyala. Earlier in the day, Attorney General Dappula de Oliveira directed the director of the CCD to obtain a warrant and arrest the UNP parliamentarian. Following this, Deputy Solicitor General Dilipa Piris arrived at the Nugegoda Magistrates Court and made representations to Nugegoda Magistrate Vasantha Kumara at his official residence in this regard. After considering submissions by the CCD, the Nugegoda Magistrate issued the warrant for MP Ramanayaka's immediate arrest relating to offences under Article 111C2 of the Constitution dealing with interference with the functions of the judiciary. Now, following this, officers of the Colombo Crime Division arrived at the parliamentarian's residence in Madivela, by which time MP Ramanayaka had publicised his preparations for the imminent arrest by starting a live broadcast on social media. The arrest follows the controversies surrounding several audio recordings detailing phone conversations between former State Minister Ranjan Ramanayaka and several influential figures in the country that have been circulating in the public domain in recent weeks. Some audio recordings are phone conversations between the MP and some judges as well as officials within the judicial service. The Sinhala organisation had previously filed several complaints with the Judicial Service Commission in the past week, seeking a comprehensive investigation into the involvement of judicial authorities in this matter. The parliamentarian is to be produced before the Nugegoda Magistrates Court tomorrow. In the meantime, earlier in the day, the United National Party announced the party's leader's decision to suspend MP Ranjan Ramanayaka's party membership owing to his involvement in the controversial audio recordings in circulation in media. Speaking to media, UNP General Secretary MP Akhilaviraj Karyavasam noted that it is still undecided whether MP Ramanayaka will be given nomination from the party in the looming general election. Accordingly, party leader Ranil Wickremesinghe has sent a letter to MP Ramanayaka confirming the suspension of his party membership under the party's constitution. The letter reads that any justification in this regard should be informed to the General Secretary within 7 days. Meanwhile, the compact discs taken into police custody from the MP's residence have been submitted to the government analyst.
Was taken by storm with recordings of telephone conversations of MP Ranjan Ramanayaka featuring the country's influential figures, including state officials and members of the judiciary at the other end, coming to light. The recordings could well become a cache of evidence supporting claims of manipulation of the judiciary by the former government of good governance. With pressure mounting on the parliamentarian and the party, General Secretary of the United National Party, MP Akhilaviraj Karyavasam, today announced the suspension of MP Ranjan Ramanayaka's party membership.
Ranjan Ramanayaka මැතිතුමා ඔහුගේ ක්‍රියාකලාපයේ මගින් ඇති වූ සිද්ධි ගණනාවක් හේතුවෙන් අධිකරණ නිලධාරීන් රාජ්‍ය නිලධාරීන් තුළු බොහෝ අයට සිදුවී ඇති තත්ත්වය මත එවැගේම බුද්ධ ආගම පිළිබඳවත් බෞද්ධයන්ට කර විවිධ ප්‍රකාශ සම්බන්ධෙනුත් ඒ සියල්ල සැලකිල්ලට අරගෙන තමයි පක්ෂ එතුමා තීරණය කරනු ලැබුවා රංජන් රාමනායක මැතිතුමාගේ පක්ෂ සමාජිකත්වය తాවකාලිකව තහනම් කරන්නත් ඒ වගේම පක්ෂ කෘත්‍යාධිකාරී මණ්ඩලයට ඉදිරිපත් කරලා ඒ අනුමත කරගන්නත් තීරණය කරනු ලැබුවා. කෘත්‍යාධිකාරී මණ්ඩලයෙන් අනුමත වුණාට පස්සේ තමයි ඒක නිල වශයෙන් නීතියෙන් ඔහුව ඉවත් කර බවට තීරණය කරනු ලබන්නේ. ඊට පස්සේ අදාළ නීති කටයුතු සිද්ධ වෙනවා. මම ඒකම ඉතින් තව මාස එකමාරක් යන ඉස්සෙල්ලා පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ විසිරෙනවා. ඉතින් එතකොට කොහොමත් මේ කටයුතු වෙද්දී മന്ത്രി ධූරයත් අවසන් වෙනවා. පක්ෂ සමාජිකත්වයේ තහනම් කරලා තියෙනවා නාම යෝජනා මණ්ඩලයෙන් තමයි ඒක තීරණය කරන්නේ. රංජන් රාමනායක මැතිතුමා වෙන්න පුළුවන් ඕනම කෙනෙක් වෙන්න පුළුවන්. මේ රටේ නීතියෙන් පිට වැඩ කරලා තියෙනවා නම් ඊට අවශ්‍ය දඬුවම් සහ ඒ ක්‍රියාමාර්ග ගත යුතුයි. ඒ සඳහා අපේ කිසිම ඒ වෙනුවෙන් පෙඩි සිටීමක් නැහැ.
Meanwhile, the compact discs taken into custody at MP Ranjan Ramanayaka's residence have been submitted to the government analyst upon orders of the Nugegoda Magistrate Court. The Secretariat of the Judicial Service Commission today stated that action are being taken with regard to 3 complaints received over the audio recordings circulating in media.
Now, in other local stories, Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa today expressed his dissatisfaction over Tamil media bias, questioning some anti-government headlines published recently. Now, speaking during a meeting with heads of Tamil media outlets at Temple Trees, the PM insisted that any solution for the people of the North and East lie within the country and not outside the country's borders. He also rebuked Tamil media for not working towards bridging the gap between the government and the northern people.
විශේෂයෙන්ම දෙමළ මාධ්‍ය භාවිතා වෙන විදියට මම හිතන්නේ හුඟක් ලොකු ආණ්ඩු විරෝධී හෙඩ්ලයින්ස් තමයි යවෙන්නේ හැමදාම. දැන් ඊයේ හෙඩ්ලයින් එකක් තිබුණා. තුරේ ජනතාවගේ ප්‍රශ්න වලට එකම විසඳුම තියෙන්නේ ඉන්දියාවේ කියලා. එතකොට ජනතාව ඔළුව හදන්නේ කොහටද? විසඳුම තියෙන්න ඕනේ මෙතනනේ. විසඳුම පිටට දෙන්න බෑ. අර ජනතාවයි ආණ්ඩුවයි අතර තියෙන සම්බන්ධතාවය ඈඩ් කරගැනීමෙන් අවුරුදු ගණනාවක් තිස්සේ ඒක කෙරුණා. තවමත් ඒක දිගට කරගෙන යන එක වැරදි කියන මතය තමයි අපි ළඟ ඉන්නේ. කොහොම වුණත් අපි එකතු වෙලා විශේෂම උතුර නැගෙනහිර මේ සාකච්ඡා උඩරට තියෙන ප්‍රශ්න වලට පිළිතුරු සහ උන්ට අවශ්‍ය දේවල් අපි ලබා දීමේ වගකීම අපිට තියෙනවා. ඡන්දෙ දුන්නත් ඡන්දෙ නොදුන්නත් අපි ඒක කරනවා. ඒක අපේ යුතුයකම.
සඳහන් කළා ජනතාවගේ ප්‍රශ්නයට උතුරු ප්‍රශ්නයට විසඳුමක් ලබා දෙන බව දේශීයව ඒකට වැඩපිළිවෙලක් සකස් කරනවද?
ඔව්. දැනටමත් ඒ ගැන අපි සාකච්ඡා කරමින් ඉන්නේ.
අපිට මෑත කාලේ තියෙන ලොකුම ප්‍රශ්නේ තමයි මේ කඳුරට ජනතාවන්ගේ රුපියල් 10 පඩි වැඩිවීමේ ප්‍රශ්නය. කොයි වගේ කාලයකද විසඳුම ලබා ගන්න පුළුවන් වෙන්නේ
අපි දැනටමත් ඒක මේ සාකච්ඡා කරලා තියෙනවා. සමාගම් එක්ක සාකච්ඡා කරමින් යනවා.
ජනීවා සමුළුවේදී රජයේ ස්ථාවරය මොකද්ද? කල්ලිල්ලනවද නැත්නම්
මේකෙදී මේ ප්‍රශ්නේ එහෙමයි ගාලින් කැවෙන්නේ නැහැ. ඉතින් අපි බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා අපේ හිතවත් අනිත් රටවල් අපි වෙනුවෙන් ඉවි කියලා.
13+ කියන ඔබතුමාගේ මතය දැන් කොහොමද තියෙන්නේ?
ඒක එහෙමමයි. වෙනස් වෙලා නැහැ මත. අපි.
එතකොට මේ ජනාධිපතිතුමාගේ පොඩක් මතෙන් පොඩි වෙනසක් තියෙනවා මේ දෙමළ ජනතාවට අයිතිවාසිකම් ලබා දීමේ ක්‍රියාවලියේ.
මොකද්ද?
ඒ කියන්නේ මේ අවුරුදු 70ක් දෙමළ දේශපාලකයන් රැවටුවා.
ඔව් ඉතින් ජනතාව රැවටුවානේ අවුරුදු 70ක්. අපි ඔයාලත් ඒකට හවුල් වුණානේ. එක්සත් ජාතිපක්ෂ ආණ්ඩුවට නම් එහෙම කරේ නැහැ. එක්සත් ජාතිපක්ෂ ආණ්ඩුවක් තිබුණානේ පහුගිය කාලේ. අවුරුදු 4මාරක් යාලා එක ප්‍රශ්නයකටවත් උත්තරයක් දෙපෙව්වා. දෙමළ ප්‍රශ්නේ තියා අතුරුදා ආණ්ඩුවන්ගේ ප්‍රශ්නේ වේවා අර අම්මලා ගිහිල්ලා තමන්ගේ දරුවෝ ගැන ඉල්ලමින් පෙළපාලි උපවාස කරනකොට එතෙන්ට අඩු ආශෙන් එතන පහු කරගෙන කාර් එකේ ගියා. බැස්සද මට කියන්නේ නිකන් බහැලා ඇහුවද කියලා එකක් ටිකේ. එහෙමවත් නැහනේ. එයාලට ඡන්ද දීලා එයාලගේ ආණ්ඩුව පිටවලා ආණ්ඩුව රැකගත්තේ තියෙන්නේ දෙමළ දේශපාලන පක්ෂේනේ. එක්සත් ජාතිපක්ෂ ආණ්ඩුව කියන්නේ තියෙන්නේ ආණ්ඩුව. සංවර්ධනයේ එක බෝක්කුවක් හදපු තැනක් කියලා නෝට කියන්නේ. මම හදුවට පස්සේ
දේශපාලඥයන්ට දේශපාලන විසඳුම ප්‍රමුඛතාවය වුණාට මිනිස්සුන්ගේ ප්‍රමුඛතාවයේ ජීවත් වීමේ අමාරුව. අපි ගියා පාරවල් නැහැ, ලයිට් නැහැ, බොන්න වතුර ටිකක් නැහැ. පහුගිය අවුරුදු 4මාරෙම සම්බන්ධ මහත්තයලා කොළඹටලා කාර් අරගෙන බංගල අරන් කොළඹටලා හිටියා. TN එකේ මන්ත්‍රුන්ගේ ඔක්කොම දරුවෝ ටික විදේශ රටවල් වල ගිහලා ඉගෙන ගත්තා. මොනවද උතුරේ මිනිස්සුන්ට හම්බුනේ? කිසිම දෙයක් හම්බුනේ නැහැ නිසා. අඩු ගානේ TN එකට බැරි වුණා උතුරේ මිනිහෙකුට රස්සාවක් දෙන්න
අවශ්‍යතාවයක් තිබුණා නම් ආණ්ඩුවෙන් ඉල්ලගන්න තිබුණානේ. ඒක ආණ්ඩුව සම්පූර්ණ ආණ්ඩුව එයාලගේ අතේ රැකුනේ. නැත්තම් අපි ආණ්ඩුව පෙළලා
give the correct picture to the people. If we are wrong, they can criticize us.
දෙමළ ජනතාවටත් මේ රට ගැන හැඟීමක් බැඳීමක් තියෙනවා. හැබැයි දැන් ප්‍රශ්නයක් ඇති වෙලා තියෙනවා ජාතික ගීය දෙමළෙන් ගායනා කරන්නේ නැහැ කියලා කතා බහට ලක් වෙලා තියෙනවා. ඒක එහෙම වුණොත් තව ඒ ඉඩස්ස ලොකු වෙන්න ඉඩ තියෙනවා නේ අග්‍රාම.
තාම දන්නේ නැහැ ඉතින් ඔය පත්තරවලින්ම කියනේවනේ ඉතින්. කියන්නේ ජාතික ගීයවල් තියෙන්නේ රටක එකයි.
එතකොට මේ පාර ජාතික උත්සවයේදී දෙමළෙනුත් ගායනා කිරීම
තාම දන්නේ නැහැ. දේශපාලන උවමනාවට ජාතික ගීය දෙමළෙන් කිව්වා ඔයාලගේ ඡන්ද ටික ගන්න. ඒක දේශපාලන උපක්‍රමයක්.
උතුරේ ජනතාවට දහසක් බලාපොරොත්තු දීලා දෙන්න පුළුවන් උනේ ජාතික ගීය දෙමළෙන් කීම පමණයි. මම කියන්නේ ඔබතුමාලා ඇයි මේ උතුරේ මිනිස්සුගේ හරි ප්‍රශ්න ගැන කතා කරන්නේ නැත්තේ?
රටේ මුස්ලිම් ජනතාවත් ඉන්නවා. දැන් මුස්ලිම් ජනතාව නියෝජනය කරන ඇමතිවරයෙක් කැබිනට් මණ්ඩලයේ නැහැ.
මුස්ලිම් කෙනෙක් අපේ පක්ෂේ නැහැනේ. පොහොට්ටුවේ නැහැ മന്ത്രിවරයෙක්. මුස්ලිම් ජනතාව දැනගන්නත් ඕන හැම පක්ෂෙටම එක එක්කෙනා හරි മന്ത്രിවරයෙක් එවන එක.
There's more local news on the other side of this break. Stay tuned. Welcome back. You're watching First at 9. Now, MP Dr Rajitha Senaratne arrived at the Criminal Investigation Department this morning to record a statement as per a court order to appear before the CID. The former minister recorded a statement after being discharged from the private hospital he was receiving treatment at. Meanwhile, the Colombo High Court yesterday issued notice on MP Rajitha Senaratne to appear before court on the 17th pertaining to the revision application filed by the Attorney General against him being granted bail. The MP left the CID premises after recording a 4-hour-long statement. The Council of the European Union has renewed the registry dubbed the EU terrorist list, with the terrorist organisation, or group rather, LTTE, which fought a 3-decade-long war with the Sri Lankan armed forces, continuing to remain among the organisations banned by the EU. The list sets out persons, groups and entities subject to respective or restrictive measures with a view to combating terrorism. A media release by the EU said, quote, persons, groups and entities on the list are subject to the freezing of their funds and other financial assets in EU, and it is also prohibited for EU operators to make funds and economic resources available to them, unquote. The European Union reviews the list at regular intervals and at least every 6 months on the basis of a regular exchange of information between member states on any new facts and developments relating to the listings. The EU terrorism list, created after the September 11th attacks in 2001 and last updated in January, includes 15 individuals and 21 organizations. The LTT, which was added to the list in 2006, is listed alongside the likes of the Communist Party of the Philippines and Peru's Maoist-inspired rebel group Shining Path and Palestine's Hamas. Now, Alice G. Wells, the Principal Deputy Assistant Secretary, Bureau of South Central Asian Affairs of the US, met with President Gotabaya Rajapaksa today following her arrival in the country on a quick-fire visit. Welcoming Wells to the country, the US Embassy in Colombo tweeted, quote, "We continue to engage across the spectrum of bilateral and regional issues with Asia's oldest democracy, including on our shared interests in a free and open Indo-Pacific that fosters prosperity, democracy, security and human rights for all," unquote. Matters discussed reportedly related to the MCC deal, reconciliation, human rights and regional issues. With emerging market stocks idling near 19-month high in the run-up to the highly anticipated signing of the US-China Phase 1 trade deal, China's chief negotiator and vice premier Liu He arrived in Washington yesterday. Liu is expected to sign the trade deal with President Donald Trump tomorrow, easing global market uncertainty following months of tit-for-tat tariff increases that have affected US manufacturing and agricultural productivity.
Chinese Vice Premier Liu He, who is also the chief negotiator of the Chinese side for the China-US Comprehensive Economic Dialogue, arrived in Washington yesterday to conclude a Phase 1 trade agreement at the invitation of the United States. Liu's trip will end on Wednesday following the signing of the Phase 1 trade deal with US President Donald Trump at the White House. China announced on 13th December last year that China and the United States agreed on the text for a Phase 1 economic and trade agreement based on the principle of equality and mutual respect. The text includes 9 chapters: the preface, intellectual property rights, technology transfer, food and agricultural products, financial services, exchange rate and transparency, trade expansion, bilateral assessment and dispute settlement, and the final terms according to a statement issued by China last month. The world's 2 largest economies have spent nearly 2 years embroiled in a bitter trade dispute that imposed tit-for-tat levies on each other's commodities, mechanical parts and finished goods. The signing of the trade deal comes in the backdrop of announcement by China's Vice Minister of the General Administration of Customs, Zhou Ziwu, that the country's foreign trade rose 3.4% in 2019 to 31.54 trillion yuan, about $4.58 trillion despite the tariff war between the two economic giants. Zhu added that China's foreign trade maintained stability on the whole, while improving quality in 2019, with its scale rising quarter by quarter.
Now, taking a look at the markets, Sri Lankan stocks closed 0.20% lower today, dragged down by Ceylon Tobacco Company, generating 219 million rupees in turnover. The all-share price index closed at 12.04 points down at 5,968.63, and the S&P SL20 index of most liquid stocks closed 0.66% down at 2,835.59. Now, here's a brief report on today's market performance.
If you look at the bond market today, the yield curve remained broadly unchanged. The mixed activities that were there resulting in high volumes. The primary bill auction that was held today, the 3 months was actually rejected, while the 6-month bill was accepted at the same level as last week, 8.13%, while the benchmark 1-year bill was accepted at 8.58%, continuously moving up. Today also moving up by around 6 basis points. If we look at the equity market, the bourse concluded the day in red again, persisting negative sentiment for the second consecutive trading session, predominantly dragged down by the price losses in Ceylon Tobacco and Asian hotels. The benchmark index, the SPI, witnessed a volatile movement reaching an intraday high of 5,995 points in the first hour, followed by a downward trend to reach an intraday low of 5,966 points, ultimately rebounding a bit to close at 5,969 points, losing about 12 points. Turnover recorded a 3-week low with the dull sentiment that was there, while foreigners continued to be net sellers during the day amidst the low foreign participation that was there.
We take a look at what's happening around the world on the other side of this break. Stay tuned. Welcome back. This is First at 9. Now, President Donald Trump fueled controversy yesterday over his decision to kill Iranian commander Qasem Soleimani by saying it doesn't really matter whether Soleimani posed an imminent threat to the US or not. Democrats who are trying to pass legislation to rein in Trump's ability to wage war on Iran without the approval of lawmakers have strongly disagreed. Democratic Senator Chris Murphy criticized the president, saying that you cannot take military action against another nation without congressional consent unless to defend against an imminent attack. He continued to say that it was clear now that Trump's decision was illegal. The Democrats consider Trump to have made America less safe, an opinion that has become further exacerbated by a news report saying that Trump authorized the killing of Soleimani 7 months ago. However, Trump's party continues to defend his actions on the basis that Soleimani's history was enough for him to be considered a threat to the US. Attorney General William Barr told reporters yesterday that Trump clearly had authority to kill Soleimani, adding that White House consulted with his department before the strike on the Iranian commander. Barr claimed that Soleimani was a legitimate military target and the strike was a legitimate act of self-defense. And that's it from all of us here at First at 9. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.